Casual fans and Twitter trolls love to attach an asterisk to the 2020 NBA championship. They call it a Mickey Mouse ring. They say it wasn't real basketball, but they honestly couldn't be any more wrong. In the summer of 2020, the NBA accidentally created the most statistically pure, tactically elite, and physically pristine basketball environment ever assembled. For 93 days inside the ESPN-wide World of Sports complex in Orlando, Florida, every single external variable that usually distorts NBA basketball was completely removed. There was zero travel fatigue, no late-night flights, time zones, or hotel changes. They had identical high school and gym-style depth perception. There were no hostile crowds, no screaming distractions, and no referee pressure, and complete vocal clarity for calling out coverages and sets. It was really just pick-up basketball professionally. No 2 a.m. flights across 3 different time zones, no hostile fan bases screaming in the ears of role players, no uneven arena sightlines, no club distractions, and no referee bias swayed by 20,000 screaming fans. It was just 100% basketball distilled down to its absolute essence. 10 men, 2 hoops, 1 ball, 0 excuses. In this video, I'm going to analyze the biomechanics, the tactical chess, the shooting metrics, and the pure hoop cinema that made the NBA bubble the greatest basketball we have ever seen. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to like the video, and turn on notifications for more daily NBA content because these videos take a very long time to produce. Other than that, let's dive onto the court. The first thing that stood out when games tipped off in Orlando was a staggering spike in offensive efficiency and long-range shooting accuracy. In the 2019 NBA playoffs, exactly one team shot over 37% from three-point range. In the 2020 bubble playoffs, 10 teams shot over 37% from deep, with 3 teams shooting over 40% as an entire squad. So why did shooting percentages skyrocket in the bubble? Well, it honestly comes down to depth perception and visual consistency. Free throw percentage also jumped from 77.1% to 80.6% league-wide, and the corner 3 accuracy increased from 38.9% to 42.8% inside the bubble. In standard NBA arenas, shooters look past the rim into massive cavernous stadium bowls filled with 20,000 moving bodies, flashing LED advertisements, and varying arena lighting. Every 2 days, players adapt to a completely new visual background. In the bubble, every single game took place in controlled, gym-like settings with dark background walls and uniform lighting. Shooters had the exact same sightlines whether they were destined home or away. Free throw percentages jumped over 3% league-wide because player focal points were never disrupted. We got to see what professional shooters look like when you remove spatial optical distortion. In a standard NBA playoff series, recovery is a myth. A team finishes a physical Game 2 at 10:30 p.m., boards a bus, boards a plane at 1 a.m., flies 3 hours across time zones, lands at 4 a.m., checks into a hotel, tries to recover for a morning shoot around 30 hours later. But the 2020 bubble completely eliminated flight fatigue. Players commuted to playoff games via short golf cart rides or walking paths, eliminating late-night flights and jet lag. Athletes had continuous access to medical staff, cold tubs, physical therapy, and consistent sleep schedules without changing hotels. Because energy systems were restored daily, fourth quarter fatigue dropped, allowing stars to maintain elite output across heavy 40-plus minute workloads. This zero travel dynamic is the exact reason why the Denver Nuggets were able to complete back-to-back 3-1 series comebacks against the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers. In normal years, a team trailing 3-1 after 4 brutal games is physically spent from traveling. In the bubble, Denver's legs were as fresh in Game 7 as they were in Game 1. We saw players executing at peak physical capacity in the fourth quarter of deep series because their bodies weren't broken down by logistics. In a normal arena with 20,000 screaming fans, coaching calls get lost in the noise. Players tend to rely heavily on pre-game prep or visual signals because they physically cannot hear vocal adjustments made from the opposite side of the court. The bubble was an acoustic laboratory with no crowd noise to muffle calls, basketball transformed into open source tactical chess. As I mentioned earlier, it was really just like a professional game of pickup, professional season of pickup basketball. It was really fun to watch. Defensive anchors like LeBron, Bam, Draymond, they all called out screens in real time. Head coaches adjusted sets directly into point guard ears without even calling timeouts, and point guards could call verbal audibles at the top of the key to manipulate coverages. You could hear Rajon Rondo calling out the opponent's set plays before the ball handler even crossed half court. You could hear Eric Spoelstra adjusting Miami's 2-3 zone on the fly mid-possession. It forced players to think faster. You couldn't fake execution in the bubble. If a player made a mental error or missed a rotation, the entire arena heard it instantly. It rewarded high IQ basketball minds like LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, and Nikola Jokic over players who rely purely on physical athleticism. For decades, home court advantage was the ultimate security blanket in the NBA playoffs. Higher seeds got 4 games in front of their home crowd, comfortable beds, familiar surrounding, and favorable referee whistles. Historically, home teams win roughly 60% of playoff games. In the 2020 bubble playoffs, home teams won just 48.2% of their games. The security blanket was stripped away. There were no fake momentum runs driven by a crowd roaring. There were no young role players shrinking on the road while overperforming at home. And mentally, the bubble was an absolute crucible. Players were isolated from their families for months, living out of hotel rooms, seeing their direct competitors in hotel lobbies after brutal losses. The teams that survived weren't just physically gifted, they were mentally unbreakable. It was a pure mental endurance test. Because the environment was so refined, we witnessed some of the most ridiculous individual performances in modern basketball history. In round 1 versus Denver, Donovan Mitchell put up 57 points in Game 1 and 51 points in Game 4. In that same series, Jamal Murray put up 50 points in Game 4, 42 points in Game 5, and 50 points in Game 6, just in a 3-game span. In Game 4 of Round 1 versus the LA Clippers, Luka Doncic put up 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists, ending the night with a buzzer-beater 3. In Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Jimmy Butler put up a 40-point triple-double, and in Game 5 in the NBA Finals, Butler put up a 35-point triple-double. Anthony Davis' entire 2020 postseason run averaged 27.7 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game on 66.7% true shooting percentage. That first-round duel between Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell was an all-time offensive shootout. 2 young guards operating at absolute mechanical perfection because fatigue wasn't slowing them down. Then look at Jimmy Butler in the finals. Facing the juggernaut Lakers without Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic for key stretches, Butler played 47 minutes, collapsed over the baseline court, padding out of sheer exhaustion, and dragged Miami to 2 wins through sheer willpower. These weren't fluke performances, as many people might say, many casual fans might say. This was high-level skill burdened by outside noise. Critics love to say the Lakers had an easy road or that the bubble doesn't count. But the truth is, the 2020 Los Angeles Lakers won the most level playing field championship in North American sports history. They didn't get 4 games at home in Staples Center. They didn't get to feed off of LA crowd energy. They had to defeat opponents in a neutral arena where skill, depth, tactical discipline, and mental fortitude were the only things that mattered. Although LA was a very stacked team, it was really up for anybody to win that championship, and LA came out on top in the bubble. The Lakers earned the number 1 seed, received no venue edge. Every team had full preparation and film access. They survived 3 months of complete isolation, and it was the cleanest shooting and execution metrics that have ever been recorded in the NBA. And that is why I think the 2020 championship is historically pure, but not just the championship. I'm also talking about just the entirety of the NBA bubble. The NBA bubble wasn't a lesser version of basketball. It was basketball in a glass display case. It showed us what the game looks like when you remove spatial distortions, travel exhaustion, hostile crowds, and referee pressure. It was a 93-day hoop tournament where the only thing that mattered was who could execute between those four lines. Now, was the bubble weird? Absolutely. Was it different? Absolutely. But it was, without question, the purest form of basketball that we have ever seen on earth, and we probably won't see any more pure hoops like that, at least professionally. Let me know, what are your memories of the 2020 bubble, though? Do you think that we'll ever see an environment like it again? Kind of hope not, to be honest, but I do like watching the pure hoops like that. Let me know down in the comments your opinions on the bubble. Do you think the championship was valid? Did you enjoy the bubble? Make sure to like the video, subscribe with notifications turned on, because these videos take a very long time to produce, and I upload every single day. I appreciate every single one of you for watching the videos and watching the channel. But other than that, that's going to wrap up this video.